The thing is, this time it is totally different, okay? We are in a structural supply-demand deficit. They've suppressed the price of silver for the last 50 plus years. When silver goes up this time to whatever three-digit number it's going to be, Keith Neumeyer has been predicting three-digit silver. He's been right. And let's say it ends up at 500, which is not unreasonable, okay? $500 for an ounce of silver. It's going to go up there and it's going to stay there. It's the new price. You know, I have a fair amount of physical silver stashed away in a vault, and I can guarantee you I ain't going to be selling an ounce of it, okay? It is pure, unadulterated wealth. Silver is money, gold is money, and I'll be passing it down to my daughter, and I'll sell my shares. There's where I'm going to do. I'm going to wait till this thing really soars, and then I'm going to take the money off the table, and by selling my shares, but my physical, I won't sell an ounce.
As of early 2026, the silver market has reached an explosive turning point. After a historic 120% surge in 2025, silver has officially entered price discovery territory, smashing through decades-old resistance levels. The urgency is driven by a critical supply-demand deficit that has now entered its fifth consecutive year, compounded by China's new weaponization of the metal. Since January 1st, 2026, Beijing has implemented strict export licensing that could cut the global supply of refined silver by up to 70%, leaving industrial giants in solar and AI scrambling to secure dwindling stockpiles. Veteran analyst EdSteer dives deep into silver's structural supply-demand deficit, driven by global population boom and decades of price suppression. He forecasts prices soaring to $500 an ounce, urges holding physical silver as true wealth, and plans to sell shares during the boom. With banks trapped in shorts and China's export curbs weaponizing the market, Steer declares this rally unstoppable. Will your portfolio survive the silver supernova? Watch now. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and enable notifications for additional in-depth content. Thanks for joining us again. Enjoy the video.
You know, what we saw on Monday was pure desperation on their part. You know, they had to get the price down, or there were going to be a lot of trading houses that were going to have margin calls they couldn't possibly meet. You know, I've written in my column, you know, over the years, especially this year, that, you know, how are the shorts going to get out of this? They're still massively short the market because, you know, look, right now the open interest in silver is at around 157,000 contracts, so which means there's 157,000 long contracts and 157,000 short contracts. Those guys that are short are in a world of hurt, and there's just no way out. It's impossible to tell how this is going to turn out. The banks are basically playing a losing game here, and the U.S. banks, like I said, they're net long the market now. But the other thing to point out about the U.S. banks is their gross short position, because if you take the difference between their long position and their short position, they're long 773 contracts, which is the first time in history that the U.S. bullion banks have been net long silver. But they still have a huge gross short position of 18,000 contracts, which they have to cover. And if they do jump into the market, all they're doing is slitting their own throats, because this is a market that just cannot be stopped to the upside. Because, like I just said, instead in answering the previous question, is that, you know, even if the deficit is only 100 million ounces this year, I mean, how long can this go on? I mean, it's impossible. And of course, China has stepped up to the bar, and we'll get into that later, I'm sure, with these new export license you need for silver. So, you know, if the bullion banks, it's a lose-lose situation, not only for the bullion banks, but for anybody that's short the market right now. I would not want to be short silver or any other precious metal for all the tea in China. It's a losing game, and it's just a matter of how many bodies are going to float to the surface by the time this short covering rally and breathes its last, because we still have a lot of room to go to the upside yet. First of all, if you want to export silver from China, you need a license. Okay, I don't know whether the miners have to get the license, or the refiners, or whoever has to get the license, or the person that wants to export it from China that's going to use it, the end user. I don't know how that exactly works, but all I know is that there's now that wall there where they can, they can approve it or disapprove it. How it's going to work, I don't know. There's just no way of telling. I mean, this thing hasn't started yet. Can they use it? Could China use it as a weapon? Absolutely. I mean, they're already using the rare earths against the United States. So, there's a chance, there's a good chance that they could be what I call, become a weapon of financial mass destruction if they choose to do so. But there's no question. I mean, the Chinese are not stupid. They know perfectly well. They know everything that you know, I know, and everybody listening to this program knows, okay? They know it all, okay? So do the Russians. So do the Indians. I mean, this is not something that a little group of us silver enthusiasts, are talking about in a vacuum. I mean, this information is being sucked up worldwide, and what we're seeing is a slow, steady response to it, which is about to go parabolic and came close to it on Friday. So, how this licensing system is going to work, A, and B, how soon they're going to use it, I have no idea. The best we can do is just sit here and watch it, blow the froth off a cold one and just watch and see how this turns out. There's been a fair number of stories about silver in the mainstream press just in the last 2 or 3 weeks. So I've carried them in my column. I know that they're there, and there's far more of it now than there was 6 months ago, where there was absolutely nothing. It's amazing to see that there's any press on it at all. And, like I said, it's just another brick in the wall. This thing has been building slowly over the last, I've been in this game now for 25 years, more than 25 years. And it's been slowly building up. And we had a big peak in 2011, another in 2021. But this is the main event coming up right now. Okay. We are in, inning of a ball game. We're probably in the second inning, maybe. We've got a long way to go. The thing is that the third, fourth, and all the way up to the ninth inning could unfold very quickly. In other words, this thing could go supernova very quickly, according to Ted Butler's bonfire of the silver shorts, where he says, the shorts are going to be panicked one day, and they panicked on Friday, and only because the bullion banks and the short sellers of last resort came in and killed the rally like they did on Monday, and they're doing again today right now as we speak. They know that kept this thing from going supernova. So, this thing has a long way to go, but it could unfold very quickly when it does. This time, it's different. This is not 1980. I remember I lived through 1980. I bought silver at that time. I made a bunch of money, lost a bunch of money, been there, done that. The thing is, this time, it is totally different, okay? We are in a structural supply-demand deficit. They've suppressed the price of silver for the last 50 plus years. The thing is, this supply-demand deficit, when it does hit a wall, is not going away. It will be with us for 5, 10, 15 years. Like, $100 million ounce deficit. Think about it. The average silver mine, as Phil Baker, the CEO of Hecla Mining, says, is about 3 to 5 million ounces. And a big one would be 10. So if you had 20 small mines, where's the silver going to come from to fill this supply-demand deficit? It isn't there. It isn't in the pipeline. It hasn't been the silver that they need to fill this deficit has yet to be discovered. Okay, I'm about 77 years old, and I will not live to see the silver market back in the supply-demand balance. Okay, unless there's some sort of, restrictions put on its use. So when silver goes up this time to whatever 3-digit number it's going to be, Keith Neumeyer has been predicting 3-digit silver. He's been right. And let's say it ends up at 500, which is not unreasonable. Okay, $500 for an ounce of silver. It's going to go up there and it's going to stay there. It's the new price. I have a fair amount of physical silver stashed away in a vault, and I can guarantee you I ain't going to be selling an ounce of it. Okay, it is pure, unadulterated wealth. Silver is money. Gold is money, and I'll be passing it down to my daughter, and I'll sell my shares. There's where I'm going to do. I'm going to wait till this thing really soars, and then I'm going to take the money off the table, and by selling my shares, but my physical, I won't sell an ounce. I'm not an investment advisor, okay? And most people listening to this show are already loaded up on silver stocks and gold stocks, etc. But if you're new, okay, we're preaching to the choir here, okay? The thing is this, I've been buying silver. I remember buying First Majestic silver for like about $3 and Pan American for about $4. and I bought wheat and precious metals when it was 95 cents. Okay.
Wow.
You know, okay. I mean, this is way back, like 20 years ago. The thing is that today is different. I recommend anybody, if I had to do it all over again, okay, I would just have bought SILJ in the US, okay. And here in Canada, 9 Point Silver Equities Fund, which is a Canadian silver equities fund that's also available in the US. But I would have bought a general equity fund and just forgot about it, because if you're a newbie in this business, even if you've been around a while, it's not, you know, it's not a good idea to rifle shoot a sector like this, which is so highly volatile. You mean Hecla, Coeur d'Alene? I own Hecla, Coeur d'Alene, Pan American Silver, First Majestic Silver, and about 20 other silver stocks, you know, some juniors and some exploration companies and stuff like that. You know, but I've been around this business for a while. But if you're a newbie, and even if you're not a newbie, I mean, you could sleep perfectly well at night buying a general purpose silver equity fund, like I said, SILJ. Or here in Canada or in the US, you can get 9 Point Silver Equities. Put your money in there and sleep tight at night. But like I said, you know, unless you know this market, I wouldn't be buying a single stock.
While general market sentiment remains fixated on day-to-day fluctuations, EdSteer emphasizes a profound generational shift: the transition of silver from a suppressed commodity to a strategic asset. He distinguishes between paper silver contracts, which are subject to manipulation, and the finite physical metal, which he views as the ultimate hedge against a potential fiat currency collapse. For those looking beyond current gains, Steer suggests that silver and gold are returning to their historical roles as the only true forms of money in an era of global economic debasement. His long-term perspective suggests that the current price levels, while record-breaking, are merely a preamble to a much larger monetary reset. As global debt reaches unsustainable levels, could physical silver be the final lifeboat for your wealth? Share your thoughts in the comments section below. If you found this breakdown helpful and want to stay ahead of these historic market moves, make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss an update. Your support helps the channel grow and keeps you informed when the markets shift next.